Hi, welcome to this Birkbeck Futures Bitesize Career session. My name is Anna and I'm a career coach with Birkbeck Futures. Today's session is called Dealing with Imposter Syndrome. And some of the things we're going to be looking at is what imposter syndrome is, how to recognize it, how it impacts your career, how you can assess yourself, and we'll be looking at some strategies to deal with it. So what is imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome, also known as imposter phenomenon and imposterism, is the overwhelming feeling that you don't deserve your successes. It's a self-limiting but very real belief that convinces you that you're not as intelligent, creative, or talented as everyone else seems to think you are. That deep down, you believe that your success is just down to luck, good timing, being in the right place at the right time. Consequently, you live in constant fear that one day everyone will twig and you'll be exposed as a fraud. Imposter syndrome can be linked to other limiting feelings such as low confidence, fear of success, fear of failure, self-sabotage. But what makes imposter syndrome different is that it's like living with a sword of Damocles hanging over your head, evoking constant fear of being exposed by others, and consequently, the person with imposter feelings lives with the very real dread of being isolated and rejected by those they know. Imposter syndrome is also linked to the idea of pluralistic ignorance. While we each secretly second guess ourselves in private, we believe we are alone in doubting ourselves because no one else voices their own thoughts. So we feel unable to dismiss feelings that we are less capable than other people. The reality is we just don't really know how much other people doubt themselves or how hard other people work to achieve things. Imposter syndrome is quite a recent concept, first identified in 1978 by psychologists Pauline Rose Clance and Suzanne Eames in a paper for the University of Georgia. Originally, it was thought just to impact women, but now it's known to be universal, crossing race, gender, age, and profession. And according to the International Journal of Behavioral Science, around 70% of people experience these imposter feelings at some point in their lives. That's quite a lot of unhappy people. So why do some people experience imposter syndrome? Well, there's really no single answer. Some experts believe it has to do with personality traits like anxiety or neuroticism, while other experts focus on family dynamics and behavioral causes. Some people base it on childhood experiences, where we internalize the idea that in order to be loved or be lovable, we need to achieve. So how do you go about recognizing imposter syndrome? People who experience imposter feelings often refuse to own their own successes, downplaying their achievements, using negative self-talk to convince themselves that they don't own their success, passing something off as easy when actually they spent a huge amount of time and energy in it. Oh, anyone could have done this. And they may believe also that if they were to gain, they wouldn't have the luck, talent, or skills to replicate this achievement. People who have imposter feelings often exhibit perfectionist tendencies, setting themselves unreasonably high goals, and then feeling shame and disappointment when they only achieve 99% of them, focusing all their notice on that 1% and making them second guess their own competence. They may procrastinate, feeling that they need to have every piece of information before they can start a project. They may not apply for a job because they don't all the criteria in the posting. They may not speak up in meetings at work because they're afraid of looking silly if they don't know the answer to something. They may never ask for help because that would mean they were a failure. Many people who have imposter feelings have feelings of inadequacy and self doubt. Many people suffer from a lack of self confidence at some point in their lives, but with imposter syndrome, the feelings is constant and severe. Imposter syndrome expresses itself in an extreme lack of confidence. When you experience success, you may find yourself thinking, I don't deserve this. I'm not worthy. Wait until they find out that I just don't know what I'm doing. Imposter feelings can turn you into Superman or Superwoman, pushing yourself to the point of burnout, working harder than those around you to prove to yourself that you're not an imposter. You'll feel the need to succeed in all aspects of your life, at work, as parents, partners, the secret to having it all with no work-life balance. So how do imposter feelings impact your career? What are the consequences for your professional life and career? Imposter feelings are a liability and can negatively impact your career progression. One of the most limiting parts of dealing with imposter syndrome is that it can absolutely stop you in your tracks in your professional life, limiting your potential, your courage to go after new opportunities, to explore potential areas of interest, and to put yourself out there in any meaningful kind of way to raise your professional visibility. Imposter feelings can make you less assertive in putting forward ideas and vision, which, if you're in a leadership position, really impacts how you inspire your team. People who have imposter feelings constantly undervalue their work and do not feel confident enough to ask for things like a raise or compensation that really reflects their true value to their employer. Some people who have imposter feelings can manage to fake it until they make it to their way to the top. But once they get there, they're just not able to enjoy it because of the constant fear of being unmasked as a fraud. In a nutshell, someone with a strong sense of self-belief, success brings fulfillment and pride. For someone with imposter feelings, success brings anxiety, stress, and burnout. What is the first step in dealing with it? The simplest and most effective way is to raise your self awareness and simply acknowledge the saboteur who does not like to be under the spotlight. Knowing that there's a name for these feelings and that you're not alone can be tremendously liberating. So, if you recognize yourself in the description of the imposter phenomenon, there are strategies to help you overcome this false narrative that you just don't measure up. You can find a mentor. You'll benefit from reflecting and sharing with your mentor who can help you realize that these feelings, these imposter feelings, are normal and universal. A good mentor can help you put things in perspective and get you to recognize your personal growth and progress instead of comparing yourself to others. Recognize your professional expertise. Take stock and reflect how far you've come and how much knowledge you have to share with the world. Develop a new internal narrative. Your narrative internal script is that automatic mental recording that kicks in situations that trigger your imposter feelings. It could be when starting a new job, meeting new people, starting a new project. Instead of thinking, for example, wait till they find out that I have no idea what I'm doing, flip the script and try thinking, everyone who starts something new feels a little unsure at the start. I might not know all the answers now, but I'm clever enough to find them out. Rewrite the should rules. If you're operating under misguided rules like I should always know the answer or I should never ask for help, Recognize that you are human and allowed to make mistakes, allowed to have an off day, and allowed even to ask for help. Henry Ford once said failure is only the opportunity to begin again more intelligently. He knew what he was talking about. If you have imposter feelings, develop a new response to failure and mistake making. Take a page from what professional athletes do. Find the lesson and the learning in the mistake and move forward to improve your performance next time. Know yourself and know what you do well. Make a realistic assessment of your strengths and weaknesses. This will help you appreciate what you're doing well and where there may be some legitimate room for improvement. Stop focusing on perfection. It's good to be driven to excel. The key is not to obsess over everything being just so. It's, it's more important to do a great job when it matters most. Forgive yourself when mistakes happen. Reframe your thinking. Well enough is good enough. Learn to celebrate and reward your successes. Separate feeling from fact. There will always be times when you feel legitimately out of your depth. It happens to everyone from time to time. Test the assumption. Is it real or is it just imposter syndrome? Talk to someone who can help. If you feel that you would like to talk to someone, there are people who can give you tools to help you break the cycle of your imposter thinking. You just need to reach out. So, we have looked at what imposter syndrome is and how to recognize it, how it impacts your career. We've looked at how you can assess yourself for imposter feelings, and we've looked at strategies on how to deal with it. So, intentionally and with compassion for yourself, overcome your feelings of being an imposter, silence that inner critic. This means that you don't waste time, energy, and emotions fighting with yourself, and that you start to build your self belief and your self efficacy. So, if you have recognized some of yourself in this session, get ready to send your imposter syndrome packing and replace it with the freedom of self belief.